4. We're live, Mr. Chairman. I yield, sir.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Once again to our viewers and listeners, both at home and abroad. And pleasant good night to those who will view us a little later on when they at their own convenient time. And always a pleasure to sit in your company, Mr. Leonard Brackett.
Pleasure is mine, Mr. Chairman.
It's always a pleasure, my brother. There's a lot going on, but again, I want to welcome our viewers to our Belizean Affairs show number 440.
4,
40,
4.
440. 440. Came a long way, Leonard. I'm sitting here, with you, um, and on previous platform, we've been around, right, Leonard? We've been
Yes, sir.
around, yes.
I
And
was teasing,
I'll,
I was teasing Greg just now, when I was talking to him, as I told him. I
uh-huh.
told him, I tell him between all 4 of us, we bring at least close to 300 years of diversified experience to the platform,
Yes, yes,
So the man was laughing.
yes,
He said, he think he at least 1 year or so older than you. Say he got
yeah,
close to 1 year or something.
yeah,
Anyway, we'll
yeah.
go back,
And
sir.
I'll,
Sorry for the
and
confusion.
Leonard, yeah, and Leonard is all in the interest of our nation and all in the interest of our Belizean people.
Because true patriotic dedication, sir.
Yes, sir.
Whoever no one
We,
believe that, that's their prerogative. We could pat
we,
ourselves on the back and tell ourselves that because we know where we come from.
yes,
We
sir.
know what goes into what we're bringing to the table.
Yes, sir.
Thank God for the privilege.
For the record, there is no taxpayer dollar that's set aside and you know given to us. We don't get a share of nothing. We are not in that group. There are groups, Leonard. There are media houses that reap from the taxpayers, right?
Then get a weekly and monthly subventions to make sure they stay
Yes, sir.
alive. In addition
Yes,
to the
sir.
payment when they get for the services when they need their services.
Yes, sir. The commercials and
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
the little put me out there and let me look good.
And nothing wrong with that, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
I confess our
Yes,
side of the
sir.
deal, right?
Yes, hey, whatever works, Leonard, whatever works for them. But we are on a different mission,
Yes, sir.
and we present ourselves differently because we don't dissect nothing. We call a spade, and we speak truth to power, truth to power, and a lot, Leonard.
Like our Spanish compatriots would say, sin pelos en la lengua.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One of these days
But
I translate it.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we pat ourselves on our back, right? Right, Leonard? Long and short, right? Um, there are a lot out there don't like how we talk, Leonard, because there's a lot that is afraid to hear the truth. Because when they hear it, they dismiss it or try
Mm-hmm,
to bury it
mm-hmm,
quick, fast, and hurry,
mm-hmm.
right? You know exactly what I mean, and most people know exactly what I mean. So again, in the interest of time. Oh, by the way,
And
tonight,
nobody could fire us, Mr. Wade. I can't fire
yes,
you,
sir.
you can't fire me, you can't fire Greg can't fire you, can't fire,
Yes, sir.
we're all independent contributors to
Yeah.
the show, and we bring our own thing and we have our own rights to our
Yes,
opinion,
sir.
ideas and conclusions. And thank God so far,
Yes, sir.
we're invested for the bigger cause of the country as a whole.
Yes, sir.
I yield back, sir.
Yes, sir. Don't sit here and condone any of the two mass party. We don't sit here and condone them because as for me, I don't want them to think that I'm talking nice about them and forget the truth and all that because I want them to do something for me. No, no, no. Right? I don't want them to do a darn thing for me than to do right by the people and nation. That is all I sit here and say what I got to say, how I got to say it, and to satisfy myself. Right.
Amen.
So, on that note, do you what we always start our program? Oh, I need to mention, Leonard, that our chairman for tonight is Mr. Gregory Brackett,
Yes, sir.
and he always in the back there group, trying to queue up and trying to set this program. But in the interest of time, the show must go on, right, Leonard?
And
So,
you volunteered to substitute as chairman. So, I mean, you see, people understand, people understand why I go on behind this show to make this show happen.
yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. So, in the interest of time, Leonard, I ask you to please. Oh, but we might be joined by Mr. Gregory Morrison also, right? So, just to put it out there, Leonard, can you please lead us in a prayer, sir? Then I will do a little reading after.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'll just bow my head, sir. Divine loving Father, once again we come before thy presence, asking that thou would accept our humble expression of gratitude and thankfulness to you for having given us the privilege of life in the first instance, and secondly, for allowing us to still be alive among our family members, friends, and loved ones. Please continue to bless our family, each and every one of them, the knowest them by name and number, the knowest our hearts, our desires, even our most secret thoughts. Please bless our friends as well. We pray that thou mayest bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership, and that thou would bless this country as well as its leaders and people. Please continue to abide with us. Please bless those who have need of food and clothes and shelter. Please give them some reprieve. Please
Amen.
bless those people who are in harm's way and who are suffering sometimes for no justifiable reason, being killed,
Amen.
losing their lives and limbs.
Amen.
Please continue to abide with us and be merciful unto us. And whatever we have to say tonight may accrue to the benefit of thy kingdom as well as to the advantage and development and benefit of our people and country of Belize. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Leonard, for that warm prayer. As always,
Welcome, Mr. Chairman.
country needed, a nation needed, the world need prayer. As to how we see it and what is going on around the world. And again, Leonard, we give thanks and praise to the Almighty because
Amen.
tomorrow is promised to no one. We give thanks and praise for Him to give us that opportunity to sit here, Leonard, and to breathe the air that He gives us for today.
Amen.
Thank you, Amen. Leonard, I go straight into a reading from Isaiah, chapter 10, 1 to 10, and it reads, "Oh, woe to those who decree iniquitous decree.
Mhm.
Woe to those who decree iniquitous decree, and the writers who keep writing oppression.
Mhm.
The writers who keep writing oppression, to turn aside the needy from justice, and to rob the poor of my people of their rights,
Mhm.
that widows may be their spoil, and that they may make the fatherless their prey. What will you do on the day of punishment? In the ruin in the ruin that will come from afar. To whom will you flee for help? And where will you leave your wealth?
Mhm.
Where will you leave your wealth? Nothing remains but to crouch among the prisoners or fall among the slain. For all this, his anger has not turned away, and his hands is stretched out still. Assyria, the rod of my anger, the staff on their hands in my fury. Against a godless nation I send him, and against the people of my wrath I command him to take spoil and seize plunder, and to treat them to tread them down like the mare of the street. But he does not intend, but he does not so intend, and his heart does not so think.
Mm-hmm.
But it is in his heart to destroy and to cut off nations, not a few. For he says, Are not my commandments, uh, sorry, are not all my commanders all kings? Is not Calno like Chermish? Is not Hermit like Ephraim? Is not Samaria like Damascus?
Mm-hmm.
As my hands has reached to the kingdom of the idols, whose carved image were greater than those of Jerusalem and Samaria. Shall I not do to Jerusalem and her idols as I have done to Samaria and her images? That's my reading from Isaiah chapter 10. 1 to 10.
Nice reading, Mr.
So,
Stephen.
yeah, so thank you. So you see, talk about where will you take your riches there, Leonard? Also, right.
Look,
A lot.
luckily, I don't have no lot of riches, so I could barely, I could probably take it all in my pocket.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it
Yeah.
talks, yes, sir. And it talks about the pretty much the laws that they make to suppress the poor people. Pretty much that's what it is, you know.
And that's what's going on today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Been going on from way back then when they wrote that scripture, and probably before then, and it's
Yes,
still
sir.
going today because it's the same nonsense we have in Belize right now, where the government is oppressing and suppressing the people, trying to use the military to, keep people in check so that they don't hit the streets because of the frustration that they're experiencing,
Yes, sir.
and raising the price of living, to such a degree where people can't manage.
Yes, sir. Leonard, Leonard, I'll stay and my people, both at home and abroad. I'll stay a little bit on that scripture, part of that scripture. About the, it seems that for me there are two sets of people and two sets of laws. That's how I see it. One for the rich and powerful,
Hmm.
and one for the poor and less fortunate who cannot afford good representation. They're the all ones that only ones that ends up, in jail. Some innocent, some guilty.
Hmm.
We see the laws that they make. They script it out so beautiful, and they would put two items that we see a little benefit towards the people, but their real intention of the laws that they make, they do not highlight it, but it's there. So when they get in trouble or when things happen, they use that laws that they have made to free themselves,
Hmm.
because see, they didn't read it out. They didn't read out the whole 30, 40 uh, rules and regulations. No, they do a couple, and then that's all the people need to know. Because like the man have always says, this man says, this prime minister says, a
You're
question was
no,
asked. question was asked to him not
Mhm.
too long ago. Why don't you inform the people? It seems that stop informing the people, put it out there publicly that the price of gas and all that. He says no. They will know when they go to the pump,
Mhm.
right? So it's similar, like the laws they make for you. You will know. It sounds so pretty and thing, but you will know when you get caught. When
Mhm.
the police come, you will know exactly what you're up against. We see the illegal SOEs that we hear on our program, Leonard, talk about. We see the 13th Amendment,
Mhm.
um, see laws
Change.
that they have passed, to benefit who? You see the bus fares that keeps rising. You see, like you mentioned, Leonard, the things that they keep raising, the price of gas, to burden who? First of all, these powerful people, Leonard, they carry a fuel ladder book,
Mhm.
and they carry, the people's vehicle. That's their personal. It's not for the people. Once they sit in there, it's not for the people no more. It does not belongs to the state. It does not belongs to the taxpayers. And they say, oh well, it's these vehicles. We are thinking about parking some because people are misusing. What they are doing now, Leonard, they take off the license plate.
Mhm.
I've seen it. They take off the blue
The boss.
government license plate.
Uh-huh. And what I do, they have
So
like extra plates that they put that or replace, so they could drive it
yes,
and nobody know it's government.
for
Rather
those who do not know, but that was just a myth. That was just something that they think the people should want to hear, and then they will say, "Well, yeah, well, we are doing something." Bull crap, right? Nothing changed. You see, the bus fares, who profits? Who are the one that loses? Who rides the bus? Says not Mr. Brisenio, not his family members. None of the ministers nor their family members ride the bus. Poor people does. And you see how they, had a hard time to raise the minimum wage $1.35, bringing it to $5. They had a hard time doing it, and while they did it, inflation went up 300%, right? And now we see, a poor commuter, Leonard, has to come out of their pocket now to come and make $40 a day, because that's 8 hours times $5. That's $40.
mhm.
So if you're commuting from the north to Belize City to work, which people does every day, the poor people come to service the government, offices and the stores, and they come to work in the city. I'm just going to leave it at the $17 one way that they have to pay, right? And then that's out of the $40. Then have nothing to eat yet. Your family is not accounted for yet in that $40,
Mhm.
but you're already half of it is already gone, pretty much, right? So just imagine, and you people are smarter than me. You could do the math and see what you will take home. And I'm not talking nothing stupid, right? This is what your government is doing to you.
Mhm.
But yet They stand up in the house and they grandstand. We love our people and we're doing everything possible to make the Belizean people, you know, um, um, living good. And this is the best that they have lived in 43 years. Words came from Johnny Briseño. I'm just saying it, right? And they love the nation and they love the Belizean people. Now, the price of gas, Belize, the highest in Central America, have the highest prices on gas in Central America, right? And no end in sight. One man for sure I know is getting rich and richer off the backs of the public, and that's Mr. Johnny Briseño, the Prime Minister of this country. Why I say that? Because he owns several gas stations Leonard, across the nation, right? And not too long ago, he appointed a cousin of his to be the fuel czar. You hear about the drug czar, and now in the U.S. we have a drug czar, and so. But I'm saying he appointed one of his relatives to be the king of fuel that is coming in the country.
So they can give private contracts to other people when in fact it's the government supposed to make the money. They could make the money now.
Yes, and that fool says that on top of it, to top it off, that taxpayers is not paying him. He's working for free.
Yeah.
That's what that fool said.
For free while they're hauling in the millions on the side and making side deals.
That's just for, yes, sir, that's just for the listening public. That's just for public consumption out there. And if you don't believe it, you could do your research, right? Do your research, right? We see the laws that they keep passing only to suppress the poor people, right? And another thing I want to remind the public, the Belizean people, that we are creeping into the hurricane season. Please be mindful, protect yourselves, your family, your property, because the government is not going to do it for you. There is not even a proper hurricane shelter across the nation of Belize. And I'll leave it there, and I'll pass the program over to the chairman for tonight, Mr. Gregory Brackett. Good night, sir.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, sir.
Always a pleasure sitting virtually with you guys. I want to say good night to the people at home and abroad. I want to thank you for tuning in to this, our 440th edition of Belizean Affair. Gentlemen, tonight I have a couple things I want to touch on, but I want to deal with them, and let the people see what is really happening in Belize. Let me go to the first bit, and then we can have an open discussion.
From what I have been informed, this is a entirely different scheme than what was taking place before. Like I said, this one may even involve forgery of signatures. Again, something different from what was previously there. And so I would have to see the two situations. I wasn't there for either, but certainly this one will come into my term. But we will look at both of the instances to do a comparison analysis. But at the very least, you can say that there was some supervisory roles that could have been tightened up if it is that this individual was able to operate since February of last year. As you know, we put people in places of trust and accountability. It happens every single day, not just in the public sector, but also in the private sector, where you have individuals embezzling, misappropriating funds. You see them getting charged every day on a daily basis. And so these are things that when it comes to light, it depends what you do as the minister, what you do as the CEO to rectify the situation, to make adjustments, to hold people accountable. That is what is going to be determining whether or not you're doing a good job as minister and CEO. We are not in these ministries or these departments on a daily basis to see the transactions that they're doing and the reversals that they were doing. But at the end of the day, we have to make tough decisions, hold people accountable, fire who needs to be fired, transfer who needs to be transferred, and discipline those individuals who are not doing their jobs.
Long overdue.
Mr. Wade, I go to you first, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, it's a pleasure to sit in your company, sir. You know, Leonard and Greg, we hear these words repetitiously, past and present government. I've seen, a lot of irregularities, a lot of blatant misuse of our immigration department, whether it's finance or our passport, our nationality. We see them end up Citizen Kane. We see them end up in Taiwan, Japan, China, in the down Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras,
South America,
in
sir.
bulk.
Thousands
And,
of
yes, sir. And
Cases.
taken, yes, sir, and blatantly taken by, people that is in government, like the Citizen Kane, that is the one in the Chinese boy from that was in the city council, the Kwan or whatever, end up with these, and this man was in jail, and he got a Belize passport. From time of memorial, we see the scenario with my good friend, may he rest in peace, Mr. Maxwell Samuels, former PUP minister. And down the line, we see Elvin Penner, we see lately Briseño got rid of that one, right? And nothing, right? He says, oh, these things happen every day, right? He said that.
The unelected one, sir.
Yes, sir, right?
The one down south. Boxes and boxes.
And my people, on the nation, on the world, we see this blatant corruption within not only the immigration, but that's the tape you played there, Mr. Chairman. We've seen it played out for the world to see, the corruption. And you know what? Sadly, it really hurts that when they say the police will involve and everything, and you see how they quiet it down to one little individual, a little clerk. So what they do, this is my belief, Mr. Chairman. I say it quick because of time. What my belief is, they summarize the situation. We don't want Mr. This to call, Mr. That to call. No, they rope in the little clerk now and they give him an offer or her an offer. Here, take this package and you own up to this, and we will be, you will be a true PUP forever, and we will love you, or a true UDP forever. We will love you. Anything you want, you just come to us. Take this file for us. It's always the little clerk within these department that gets the bukut. Put it that way. We see none of you hear that man say, oh yeah, we charge people on a daily basis. That man got to watch what he talks, how he say it, right? Because then people will think that they're on the job. They're doing right for the Belizean people and right for the nation and the department. Right? You listen to that man talk, bullcrap. I yet to see a minister of immigration or a CEO of immigration been charged, put in the court system, taken to jail, and let him serve his time. Yet to see that happen because they all know about it. They all know about it. So don't let us only me feel that way then. I feel like they all know about it. Right? So, Mr. Chairman, it's so sad to see at the end of the day, it's that little clerk. Yeah, he already you see it's a narrative. They're already painting a narrative for the world and the public, you know, that yeah, signatures and this and that and you know, paper and this and that. And the little clerk will get it at the end of the day, get fired. Back to you, Mr. Chairman. Now leave it like that.
I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Wade, too, for your contribution. So that was very eloquent. As far as I'm concerned, the gentleman that you played the tape of, Mr. Karim Musa, as minister, what he was doing was making excuses, okay? Because these issues have been going on for decades, on decades, on decades, throughout the administrations. Then it happened under Mr. Price administration. It happened under Mr. Esquivel administration. It happened again under Mr. Price administration again. It happened again under Mr. Esquivel's administration again. It happened under Mr. Musa administration. It happened under Mr. Barrow administration, to the point that Mr. Barrow said he called one of the department then a hotbed of corruption himself as the prime minister, not just as a regular minister, you know. So when I'm saying what I'm saying, I'm not saying it to be gratuitous or to be pointing fingers at the civil service, because the civil service that does these things are the ones that do behind the scene things on behalf of ministers who suborn them. And so if they can do mischievous things on behalf of ministers and get away because the ministers can't bring them into reproach, that's what caused the matter to fester. And everybody else watching each other. And they always, like you say, Mr. Wade, have some of the junior officers then to take the fall for the bigger boys. Because the junior officers can't do any of these things. They can do their part of the job to facilitate their senior officers, who are the ones that have to sign off on these documentations and these transactions. The small guy don't have one part to play other and just follow where the boss direct and follow. The small man can't initiate any of these outcomes. And we have had it again currently under the present administration. So it's nothing new. We have always been hollering about trying to get them to put people on trial and make examples of them for the crime that they commit. But most of them, they get out with a little slap on the wrist, and that's how the stuff persists. Worst of all, the ministers then, as in the case of Mr. Musa just now that just spoke, he can point his finger at the civil servants then and pretend that what I'm saying about the ministers then had nothing to do with the process. Why? They can make laws to deal with the small fries, but they can't make laws to deal with checkmating themselves, such as UNCAP. They keep promising that they're going to put in the place, and once you get some of them under UNCAP being tried and they suffer serious consequences, then the people under them will take heed and they will avoid having to fall into the same trap of losing it, because nobody wants to lose their job in Belize as a country. Everybody needs a job. But these people, they hustle on the side because of how the government treat them. They aid and abet them in the criminal conduct, and at the end of the day, they're not paying them good. They don't do nothing. I mean, the ministers, and they rip off the system and the society. Each and every when they go in the office, they become millionaire, and some of them become multi-millionaire. While when they squeeze the small man with taxes and all kind of other onerous requirements under the law. So these people are trying to develop their own little hustle on the side. and then they put in danger their own professional standing. Because no, any of these people get caught and sent to jail, you think they will get a job with anybody else outside of government? So it's the whole of their future they put it on the line. But some of them don't care because, like I said, they do favors to the ministers, them and the ministers have them back. Are you back, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. It goes beyond that, people at home and abroad. This is a prime example of a recycling event taking place within government change, regardless of what color gets into power. And I will say this, if you cannot prevent this from happening, how can you prevent gangbanging and crime that is taking place that is more drastic than this right here that is happening? And I will say this, you heard what the minister said. This is kind of different. It is not different. It's the same immigration department, might be different people, same sentiment, same thing happening. You heard what he said. They will do what they have to do, even if some people need to get transferred. I always say these people tell on themselves because he should know transfer cannot take place. So when they do that, they are saying these things as political blunder. Election time is coming soon, and they want to make it seem as though they are doing their job. But to answer what he just said about transfer, here it goes.
Certainly, as you alluded to last week in a previous interview, we are facing uncertain global economic situations. There's a lot of headwinds when it comes to the finances and the effects that they will have on government services. So government is looking at different ways in which we can save money. And this is one of the cost saving measures. By extending the tour of duty, you are extending persons, yes, at their current posts, but in that regard, you don't have to pay transfer grants, in some cases, housing allowances, based on where the public officers are going. Maybe you would have had to pay hardship allowance, etc. So these do add up, and every penny counts when it comes to saving right now in these uncertain times.
And so won't it cause widespread disruption and inconvenience for many of the persons that would need to travel or something like that?
Well, transfers in the public service are governed under the public service regulations. As you know, those are enshrined in the Constitution. I think it starts at Section 96 of the regulation, and that deals with transfers. And it says very clearly in that section that transfers are to be done in the interest of the public service and are not to be done as a punitive measure. Many times, and we've
I want to stop it right there, people at home and abroad, because this one that he is speaking about is going to be done in a punitive measure. The government is trying to save money, so there should be no transfer. So he's speaking out of context. Now imagine, I go back to you, Mr. Wade.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At least one thing I like him. I like what he said. That guy there. He said, enshrining the Constitution, enshrining the Constitution. At least he picked something out of the Constitution that they shouldn't do. But Mr. Man, that is something that you all do on a daily basis. You call that what you call it? I can't get you one way, but I went. And it's not the first time. I remember when I was in the police force way back then, if they don't like you, they send you away to Cadenas. They send you to to turn back too because they don't like you. So you see from how long these things are enshrined in the system. So what he's talking is bullcrap, right? And it's called vindictiveness. If the commissioner of police not like you, or I just can't send you home just like that. No, what he does to you, he say me PC weird, you with immediate effect you have been transferred from
Mm-hmm.
Corozal to Cadenas.
Mm-hmm.
And find a way how you gonna get there too. And you gotta report to Cadenas and they give you a day that you have to report there. And you don't go there, you be Rudy Weird will be on charge.
Mm-hmm.
Take away the $2 that they're giving you. Right? I'm telling you how these people operate. So, and in terms, Mr. Chairman, in terms of cost saving measures, and I would like to suggest to Mr. Briseño and to that guy there, take away your damn fuel out of book. We'll save money. Stop buying vehicle for the CEO and because I like this one and new vehicle all the time. Find your own damn way to work, just like any other public servant does. You're a public servant. Find your damn way to your office, right? That's saving money, right? So that's just two items there, Mr. Osher or Mr. Musa, whichever one you go under, right? So, it's all a bunch of hot air, right? And it upsets me when I hear these people talk that way and they know they are very vindictive and malicious. And I like to call them right now. There is a young man that's stuck in Tijuana. That's right, there in San Diego, right? Borders San Diego. He was robbed. He was claimed a Belizean. And up to publicly on the social media, right? And he's calling for help. There's a darn Belize embassy in Mexico. Why doesn't that Belize embassy assist that young man from day one? Right? What are they waiting for? This young man is on the street, robbed of however his item was stolen or he sold it or whatever had happened. But he's calling for help. He's not a Salvadorian, not a Guatemalan, not a Chinaman. He's a born Belizean, and he's calling out for help from the embassy, and that's immigration thing, right? That concern should be a concern of the immigration department, right? Because he wants a passport. He lost his passport. Whether he was going to swim the river or fly over or don't care. Fact remains is that he's stuck in a place that he needs documents. His passport. He don't need a US passport. He wants a Belize passport so he could travel back. Right? So that's what I got to tell Mr. Musa, Hari Musa, right? I'm advocating for that young man. But, it's so sad how they talk about the government is strapped for money and there is so much ways that they fire these damn CEOs. Fire them. Get rid of them. We don't need them. The Belizean people, they're just an extra burden on the taxpayers of this country. These so-called CEOs. Who do they answer to? What good are they doing? In my personal view, only me think that way, Rudy Wade think that way, right? That they are doing a disservice. And I will not categorize that disservice, but broad as it is, a disservice to the Belizean people and the taxpayers. They need to be fired from the Briseño CEO all the way down to the transport CEO, right? All the way, and all of them, they should be fired, right? Saves money. You will save money. How much goodies are you giving these CEO, right? How much goodies? You raise their salary twice since you take office, Johnny Briseño. Twice. Is that needed? Are they so, top of the line person that you need to raise their salary like that? Give them perks? A $600 phone bill? Phone credit that you could rack up $600 You imagine you multiply, Mr. Briseno, 600 times all the damn CEOs you got. How much money the taxpayers will save. Say no more,
Times,
Mr. Chairman. Back to you.
times 12 months, Mr. Wade. The 600 is every month.
I'm not the brightest person. I'm not the brightest person. But if I, stupid person and uneducated, could see that, I don't see why others can't see it. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. I want to say good night to you, Mr. Morrison.
Good night, Mr. Merson. Good night,
Mr.
sir.
Merson.
Glad to have you.
It's a pleasure to have you sitting with us virtually and being a part of the Belizean Affair Show number 440. Before I go to you, I want to go to Mr. Brackett for his comment.
You could go ahead and let Mr. Morrison in, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind.
Mr. Morrison was not sitting in, so he would not have heard the conversation. So I want to go to you first, and
Okay,
then
sir.
I will come
Mr.
to
Chairman,
him.
if I suggest how you play the tape for Mr. Merson, and then he can.
I want to come to him with an agenda.
Oh,
So
okay,
I want
okay,
you
okay.
to go ahead, Mr.
Yes, sir, I will. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It is my perspective that unless the government, or unless we get serious-minded people to deal with our governance affairs, rather than just charlatans, as I think they are currently, we will continue repeating the same cycle over and over and over. As I indicated, we've been doing that, and I pointed out the different administrations then from Independence Day till now. My last comment point that out in terms of a chronological order. But the bottom line is that if the head of the fish is stink, what do you expect about the tail or the rest of the body? If we can have adequate minded people to be the ministers or the head of these departments and to justifiably make sure that they are doing their job, which is to keep tabs on how the department is run, and to make sure that people who are doing their jobs inside those departments are not just being left alone with a free hand to commit crimes, and then the ministers then they pull themselves away and claim that, well, they are not the one physically committing the crime, so they aren't supposed to be blamed. They are the buck stop with them. They are the department heads. They are the minister. So when people know that the minister is going to get on their case for committing crimes such as embezzlement, or they might end up they go to jail or at least prosecuted, and their name going to get messed up because then people won't stop trusting. People want to take more caution and be more honest and more honorable. But if they know that the ministers going to do thing and then they help the minister do thing, then the minister can't tell them when they go and do their own thing on the side. And that's how most of those hustles start. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Let's deal with the facts as they are not the way we'd like them to be. I yield back.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. Mr. Morrison, as I said before, it's always a pleasure to have you sitting with us. You might have missed the first topic, but I want to get your involvement on this coming topic because I must revisit it, especially with you sitting with us tonight. I will go to the tape and I will ask you guys to make it make sense to me or make it make sense to the public.
The state of emergency or the activation of the state of emergency is an extraordinary legal tool to combat an extraordinary circumstances, that traditional policing alone cannot neutralize. And I believe that it's an indication of strategic strength, proactive leadership, rather than sitting down and having business as usual. It shows that as a department, we are committed to doing whatever it takes to return normalcy to the streets.
The SOE is a creature of the Constitution, so the Constitution cannot be inconsistent with itself. We have had 3 judgments of recent that speaks to SOE. We had the first one, which clearly stated that the situation at hand was one that warranted the implementation of the SOE. The second one, whilst acknowledging that SOE can be called for certain situations, the court was not satisfied that the evidence that was brought before it was sufficient. And I think, and I'm right, Mr. Jones, in saying that in the most recent one, the court also again reaffirmed that when situation reaches a level whereby there is an immediate threat or danger, the calling of an SOE is something that is constitutional. So I wish to disagree.
I want to stop the tape there. Mr. Morrison, with your sound knowledge of law and how courts make decisions, based on what ASP Smith has just said, with your knowledge, sir, have you ever find a court telling a police department when it can and cannot have a state of emergency, as in the one we are having?
Well, is that the question you're posing to me, Mr.
Yes,
Brackett?
Mr. Morrison.
Well, it is unusual, I believe, that the court will tell the police department when they should not have one. I personally do believe, and from my understanding of the Constitution, that SOEs can be enacted by the Parliament, National Assembly, and signed off by the Governor General when it becomes a situation where the police department is not able to deal with the routine crime situation that's happening. And so I do believe it can be constitutional. What I find problematic is that we are using these extraordinary measures to deal with what should be regular police activity and citizen protection. And therefore, we are making these situations more dangerous and more cumbersome and more extraordinary measures, and probably to some degree implementing extreme constitutional measures that limits the rights of the citizens. Because when you implement an SOE, it's a big net. It captures law-abiding citizens, it captures criminal, it captures everyone that's within that vicinity of that area trying to impose police command over. And so I do think that when the government and when they exercise these measures, it infringes on all the people in that. Actually, I think it impacts the entire nation, not just the people that are directly involved in it, but it becomes a brass in the face of the entire country when we are taking these extreme measures to do what we should be doing with regular police work and proper policing and proper administration of justice. So I'm not one that think it is should be used regularly, but I do believe that there are that uh, ability to make SOEs legal beyond the the obvious of when you have a national disaster, or you such as an earthquake or a hurricane, or you have uprising, or you have a threat from Guatemala as Belize would face, or any of those circumstances that are specifically spelled out in the Constitution. So I am one that would support SOE, but I think it definitely is an abuse of the system, and it's best definitely is not good um, judicial and legal and police engagement with the community. And it is not a good exercise when we go to the extreme of trying to do regular police work with these extreme measures. I think in one spell some people had called it draconian measures in terms of dealing with just the basic um, issues of civil management and such. What we need in these communities are jobs. What we need in these communities are relationship with the police and the community that would seek to reduce the crime situation that they face. What the police and most people know, I think one person identified before and said, oh, there are like 300 bad people across the country. So why should we hold the whole country, the whole society at such abeyance to deal with this situation? We need to take proper measures, I believe, and resolve the criminal situation that we're having. So that's my offering, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. I will comment on it when I am through with everyone. Mr. Brackett, I go to you. AFP Smith said that the SOE is a creature of the Constitution, and the Constitution cannot be inconsistent with itself. According to her meaning, so that
Uh,
is why the state of emergency is legal. Let me hear your input on that, sir.
uh, I'll use your phraseology, Mr. Chairman. That is that she was speaking out of context. The poor young lady was put there to defend the indefensible. That is that what the commissioner himself had just previously said before that young lady is that the police department cannot deal with that situation where you have a few of these people shooting at each other every once in a while. Okay. The problem is the police is in negotiations with these people under the LIU. They're paying them in order to not commit crimes. So the people that they're paying don't go and commit the crimes. What they do is they get their underlings, the little young ones, them, send them out there, compromise them, and keep control over them. And when they, the bigger boys, get a higher job to do, they send the little small foot soldiers to go and do it. You could never find one of these bigger boys them with their hand having the blood draining off their hand from the crimes that are committed around the society. The ones that these police officers are claiming that they can handle and that they need to be able to have, and so you put in place, as in the case of the commissioner, it means that he needs to be fired. If he cannot use the maximum police authority invested in the police department in Belize as a country, then he doesn't know what the hell he's doing or doesn't understand how to do his job, because he's actually not doing his job. When he has to go and ask for them to put an SOE, to put a blanket, a hot electric blanket over the whole community, just because he can't keep police control over the few knuckleheads that's running around acting crazy. If he needs help to go and deal with those guys, if those guys have maybe bigger guns than he have, let him get some help from the BDF or from whoever, but not under the onerous guys that they're throwing a whole SOE in order to recruit the BDF into their crime fighting, because that's not necessary. That's an abuse of power. And there's a reason why they abuse these powers. Not because they don't know better. A lot of them in cabinet are lawyers. I would say that maybe the commissioner, Mr. Rosado, is not a lawyer, but he's an intelligent and a smart and wise person to the point of having earned a doctorate degree in whatever subject matter he was dealing with. So he's not just a back tongue somebody that don't know his elbow from his butt. What he is doing is the biddings of other people above him in order for him to stay in good grace with his superior. Just like the young lady was trying to talk a good talk on behalf of the police department. When she's going to say that the SOE is a creature of the Constitution, her department is a creature of the Constitution too. And why the hell aren't they doing their job? So that they wouldn't have to implement these bogus SOEs. There's a difference between a legal, constitutional, lawful SOE and a bogus, illegal, unconstitutional SOE. They're two different animals. And she needs to recognize that difference before she opens her mouth and try to talk to everybody, thinking that all of us out there are a bunch of idiots that know what's right and what's wrong. One more I'd rather not say more, at least for right now.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. Mr. Wade, before I make a comment on this topic, I want to hear your input, sir. You as a police officer, so you might have some adequate input to tell the people at home and abroad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I listened to the Commissioner of Police. You know, you mean that so they have tried all that they have, you know, legally in the books and, you know, to deal with crime in the country, and they cannot deal with it, so an SOE is needed. You rightfully says there, Leonard, that there are certain elements that needed to warrant an SOE, right? I am not the smartest mind, but I was taught a little of the Constitution, right, in my police training, right? So far, as for me, the state of emergencies that have been implemented for many years now, past government, right? They're all illegal, right? But nobody hold these people at bay. You hear the lady says that, the W says that the court had two different versions on the SOE, were legal or not legal. You know, I take that with a grain of salt, right? Whatever she uttered there, I don't think she has a clue what she's talking about. But, you know, it's the SOEs that, you know, have been implemented in the nation. If you notice that, you know, it's only in a certain area repetitiously, and it happens every so often in the tourist season. At least maybe they do like 3 illegal SOEs for the year. For many years now, 3 illegal SOEs per year. We could do the research and we could do the math, right? I wonder why. Now, I say this to say that, you know, and it's all geared, Mr. Chairman, to say that because of the gangs, right? You know, like you mentioned, Leonard, you have got the gang intervention unit, that unit that deals with gangs, and past police minister and past commissioner of police come publicly. You know, we know these people. They are a handful of people, and we know them. When some heinous crime was committed and you know, they were looking for some gang leaders, they couldn't find them, and eventually they find one and they let him go for whatever, you know, whatever that gang leader have on whoever, oh yeah, he was let go. But my point is, if you know these people, and it's a handful, why implement a state of emergency? Who do you want to punish? Number 2, Mr. Commissioner, what is the duty of the police force, police department. What is their duty? To protect the citizen, right? To uphold law and order, right?
Mm-hmm.
And isn't there already, if you commit a crime, there's penalty if you murder, if you pull out a gun, and there's charges that can be levied by the police department. If they knock on your door and find some weed and or they find somebody with all these gang thing, cause we deal with gangs, right? Isn't there already laws to persecute these people? Why subject certain portion repetitiously to these kinds of actions, which that it's illegal? Now, I say this, Mr. Rosado, compare the little bad boy them, because I saw the Johnny Briceño call him the prime minister of this country, Mr. Johnny Briceño. The lead bad boy then, the lead black bad boy then. Arrest them, the SOE, send them to jail for cool off for only 30 days. This is what that man says.
Mm-hmm.
And all these SOEs that the nation had subject to, the authorities have subject the nation to all these SOEs. Not this one I talked about previous. What was the benefit, right? Did you all achieve your objective?
Nope.
Seems I would say no, because then you went 4 months after you passed another one,
Mm-hmm.
and another one, and the next year after that, and another one, and for the same reason you all come with. So I say this: all the drug cartel in the north, all the drug activity, all the murders that is being committed in the north, they are more warranted to pass a state of emergency in the north than the little black boy one or the catch with one little stick of weed and some gun and thing, and then they kill up each other, yes. But there is laws already to deal with a murderer. You catch him, take him to court, charge him, take him to court, let the court deal with him. Why continuously, repetitiously subject one group of the society to every time on an illegal SOE? Well, that makes sense to me, Miss Smith and Mr. Rosado, because that they export. I'm not the expert. I'm just saying, Mr. Chairman, that there are already laws to deal with criminals. So why don't go and put a state of emergency in Orange Walk, where the Prime Minister lives, or in Corozal, where there are other ministers, right? Why not in the cartels that the free zone?
Mm-hmm.
There are such tragedies that could work, that you could put a SOE down there, and then you will solve some of the cartel movements, Mr. Rosado. Shame on you to say, well, the police had exhausted all their measures, and then a state of emergency is needed. Man, that makes sense, man. So anyway, that's just the way I feel and the way I see it, and it's not done right. It's so sad to see how a group of society, and certain ethnic group have been targeted repetitiously in the name of a state of emergency. I can't get the sense of it.
Thank you.
Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. I want to say this to the public at home and abroad. First of all, I would never have put the Commissioner of Police and the Assistant, Ms. Smith, on a televised broadcast speaking about a state of emergency. They are teaching out of context. And this leads me to ask, where is the Minister of Home Affairs, who should have been the one who's been paid by the taxpayers' money, who is supposed to head the police department in the role of to protect and serve? We have not heard from him since this SOE, and he should have been the one to be speaking to the people. I want to say this, right? Because you have learned lawyers, as my good cousin said, who is not speaking up on it. But I want you to hear how this learned attorney, Mr. Musa, listen to what he will say, people at home and abroad, because this is very interesting. Listen to what he has to say.
Yeah, crime management, and obviously, like you said, it was my job for 5 years to be a part of that operation. It's very difficult, obviously, and you have to utilize many tools. Obviously, we have the leadership intervention unit that intervenes in a positive way in these young men's lives who want to change. But there comes a point when there are certain individuals, certain actors who, no matter how hard you try with them, they will continue to act in a deviant manner and act criminally and take people's lives. And if it is that the police has information that there's going to be retaliation, that is usually when a state of emergency is called.
I want to stop it right there.
Baloney.
Wow.
Baloney.
When the police using intelligence here, a retaliation will take place. That is when a state of emergency can be called. Mr. Morrison, I want to hear your rebuttal on that, sir.
Thank you again, Mr. Brackett. The former minister for police said a mouthful, I believe. Um, we know that one of the big issues is retaliation, a tit for tat, a killing here, a killing there. You kill me, I kill yours. It's just a very vicious cycle that these young people are going through, and they take the country up and down, and they have become so reckless in that they start shooting in the streets and put a threat to innocent people's lives in their behavior, because um, it doesn't matter where they are. We could hear that we could hear the the gun being fired in public spaces where one of those bullets, I think in the past they have hit innocent people. I don't remember for sure. But we know that that chance definitely exists the way they are behaving. So with the statement from Minister Musa, we hear that he's saying that when they know this type of retaliation is going to come about, it gives them that opportunity to issue an SOE, and that may be what his thinking is. But I would argue, and I would say that if you know all that will happen, if you know who these people are that will retaliate, if you know all this, then there's enough cause to go and gather those individuals and to um, bring them in for discussion, to bring them in for under charges for other things. They all have guns, they all have issues, they all are sitting out there, and so what I'm against is that how this infringe upon the freedom and the rights, the constitutional rights of just the ordinary regular people that are not part of these guys, that then get caught up in this whole activity of limiting their freedom of movement, limiting their freedom of association, limiting their rights to move about in the community, in the country, as they so desire. So that is the concern I have when we start implementing these SOEs. As I said, I'm not categorically opposed to them. I just think that they are bad and poor tools to deal with regular police enforcement activities, and it shows mainly on the part of the government an inability to properly execute the law. And I agree with you, gentlemen, that to me the Commissioner of Police Rosado and the Assistant Commissioner, Miss Jones, I think you said was her name.
Miss Smith, I think. Miss Smith,
Miss
Mr.
Smith.
Morris Smith, yes.
Okay, Miss Smith. They were definitely not the people to be speaking on SOE to that extent that they are, because they were totally not giving the correct information. It is to me the responsibility of the Minister of Police and also the Attorney General to be talking on these issues, and to be fair and to be clear and to be legal in addressing both the legality of it and the concerns of the citizens that they would have on these matters. So that's where I think the the the, the responsibility of those two people come, the Attorney General and the Minister of Police. That's why they get the big money, not to be hiding in the corner and not addressing the real issues and concerns of the people. And then also the Prime Minister, and to tell us how he will structurally deal and make changes so that we are not running up against SOEs time after time after time when they're becoming more and more less effective as the tool that they are hoping to use it for, because it is a very poor tool to deal with this type of situation. We need to look at the um, real meaningful ways of trying to address crime, and then addressing the efficiency of our courts, and then finding ways to hold criminals accountable. We can't just hold them and then 30 days when we think things cool down, we let them out, because
The mic there, Mr. Chairman. Your
when
mic.
you put when you put them in that factory of a prison, you're not reducing tension. You're creating more animosity and more tension, so that when they do get out of there, if they don't get each other when they're in there, when they do get out of there, it's going to be worse, and the community then suffers more from those actors. So I think we need to look at real ways of trying to address the true concerns that is triggering the violence, and it may be drugs, marijuana, it may be cocaine, it may be just rivalry, whatever the issues are. We have enough psychologists and social workers and enough um, experts in crime and behavior to make sure that we start dealing with these issues on a long-term way and in a meaningful way, that we start making a difference. So that's what I'm thinking about it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. I want to say this, Mr. Morrison, and to you, the people at home and abroad. Mr. Morrison, you have said a mouthful. I want to go back in time to show and tell that what you have just said has been said long before now. And yet we had been going through SOEs after SOEs. So let's listen to it.
Over the past few weeks, we have seen a number of gang-related shootings in different parts of the city, while the police have been able to conduct investigations in respect to these incidents. And by the admission of the surviving victims, as well as through our intelligence mechanism, we have been able to pinpoint who are these persons behind these triggers. But due to the fact that the surviving victims and witnesses in connection with the cases where the victims passed away do not wish to cooperate with police investigation. And when I say cooperate, I mean in terms of giving us what they may have seen in writing in the form of a statement in order for us to be able to effect arrests. We have not been able to remove those persons off our streets. We find that for the most part, whenever these incidents occur, the talking from the victims or the relatives of the victims is that they are going to take their own retaliation. So that has made it hard for the police to be able to arrest the situation by getting those persons who are responsible charged and sent to prison. And so we saw that, particularly over the weekend that went, that the shootings were increasing, especially in the...
I want to stop it here. I said earlier it's a system recycling itself. So if you know these things, how come then is it that you will implement unconstitutional state of emergency with no condition that will have young men who have committed no crime caught up in your web, and then you want to go look for evidence to charge them when you, the police, say you know who this is a person is? Make it make sense. I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. In addition to what you just said, which is 100% correct, why is the government willing to take hostage the whole of those communities instead of deal with the gangs and the issue of shooting? What the hell is going on in these people's head that they can't figure out that difference? They're getting paid to do a job that they refuse to do. They acknowledge that they refuse to do the job. Well, then step aside and get out the way and stop to create additional bogus rules and regulations to eviscerate people's constitutional right and be punitive towards the rest of the society. Because you're not solving the problem, you're not helping. All you're doing is causing additional harm on people who are then made victim by the criminals as well as by yourself as the government. And the problem is not being solved. You cannot have it both ways. Because you say you take these people up to Ramallah or wherever, you should be taking the ones that are actually pulling the trigger or committing the crimes. You just go and take every black person that lives in that community and victimize them and give them a police record so that when you finish dealing with them, they can't get a job. They go to school, they come out from school, there's no job normally. And when you criminalize them, you make it worse for them that they can't even get a job thereafter because they have a police record. These things are not happening by errors, omissions, or basic oversight. It's happening as a designer system, like you say, Greg. It's by design. They're paying the people them that really are the big wigs them in these gangs. And then they're suppressing the people who actually need to go to their job and make a living to survive. I don't understand what is it with our people. I mean, and like I said, this going on from in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 20s, the arts, the 20s. I mean, when is it going to stop? When is somebody going to step to the plate and do what needs to be done within the constitutional constraints? Because the Constitution is not stopping them from acting criminals. All it's telling them they're not supposed to violate people's basic civil rights without justification or cause. So
That is correct, Mr. Brackett.
I'd rather not say much more about it because, like I say, I get these things really make me.
Gentlemen,
I might end up saying something off the way. I'll yield back.
gentlemen and people at home and abroad, let's listen to what the Prime Minister had to say on the ruling.
It's unfortunate, but more importantly, I think we have two different rulings pretty much almost at the same time. So obviously that would have to be addressed. It will have to be appealed, quite likely maybe all the way up to the CCJ to be able to get clarity. But for us, what's more important, we are moving beyond the calling for a national state of emergency because it gives the wrong impression. When all we're trying to do at that point, whenever we declare that, is to be able to try to see how we can calm things down in the so-called streets where, these young men are going after one another and creating havoc and creating a sense of real emergency in the neighborhoods where people live. So we have to find a more effective way in be able to deal that legislatively, but also be able to see how we can deal with these mostly young men to be able to see how we can get them to move away from a life of crime.
With this landmark ruling, is the government worried that more detainees might try to sue the government? I mean, there's an SOE right now.
Well, that is why it has to be appealed. We'll have to be able to get clarity and necessarily go all the way to the CCJ.
Mr.
I
Chairman?
want to say this, gentlemen and people at home and abroad. I believe the intention of the government is not to go all the way to the CCJ. I will tell you why. There are 20 presidents SOE cases from around the Caribbean that falls right within the Commonwealth Caribbean law. 20 cases that specify any state of emergency that does not have conditions like COVID-19 is unconstitutional. But not to hear it from me, here is one of the rulings, and I will go to you guys to
Mr.
have
Chairman,
your input.
before you play, sir, make an answer the Prime Minister now.
After I play the tape, Mr. Brackett.
Go ahead. Okay.
Unconstitutional and a violation of fundamental rights. The Supreme Court this morning ruled in favor of a man detained without charge during the 2018 state of a public emergency in St. James. The man had challenged his detention on the basis that his human rights were violated. And Jamila Maitland was in court this morning.
For almost 8 months, taxi operator Rashane Clark was detained under the state of public emergency in St. James roughly 4 years ago. This morning, a 3-member panel of judges led by Justice Chester Stamp declared that not only were sections of the SOE regulations unconstitutional in allowing security forces to arrest and detain citizens without charge, but also that Clark's detention was a violation of his fundamental rights.
These regulations were declared unconstitutional as they gave the authorities unduly unfettered power to abrogate the fundamental rights of a wide class of persons in society without evidence establishing that they were reasonably justified for achieving the purposes of the state of emergency.
Queen's Counsel representing Mr. Clark, Michael Hilton, described the ruling as important in Jamaica's current climate.
The court also ruled on the way in which our particular client, Mr. Rashane Clark, was detained. The circumstances in which he was detained, the multiple times that he was detained without charge.
As it relates to his client,
263 days in custody without being charged is a whole long time to be in custody without being charged. and we're happy for the decision that was made today by the court, and I'm sure when I get in touch with him, he'll feel very elated.
The court also awarded Mr. Clark $17.8 million in damages for the period.
Queen's Counsel Michael Hilton described the landmark ruling as timely, following Prime Minister Andrew Holness's declaration of a state of public emergency in St. Catherine this morning. But while he wasn't able to determine whether this one was justified, he did say it should impact how the government goes about the detention of people during the enhanced security measures.
The decision should provide some guidance to the state and to the security forces as to how they carry out their functions. I can't put it no higher than that. But as to whether this morning's in St. Catherine was justified is another discussion.
Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
So there you go. In a state of emergency without transitions or what? Unconstitutional. Regardless of how they want to put it. It has to fall under state of emergency, as in COVID, where you can be charged for being out too late when curfew, no face mask, etc. Mr. Brackett, I go to you. 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As regards to what the Prime Minister said on the previous tape, he was alluding to the fact that they have an SOE that they just recently put in place, currently now, when in fact he was saying that they needed to appeal one out of the two previous SOEs because one of them was in contradiction with the other. They could have done that long time ago. They refused to do it because they didn't want to go and lose the case. Okay? They didn't want the court to set a precedent that would block them from continuously using this bogus process, unjustifiably so. But now he's saying, oh, they need to go ahead and, well, the law requires that he, as the Prime Minister, does not disobey the third branch of government, which is the judiciary, in his conduct. That is to say, he is deciding to put a SOE when he knows that the SOE issue account to his own words has not been solved because you have two different SOEs conflicting with each other, which needs to be resolved. And if he is saying that they might even go as far as not only just the appellate court, but which they have already gone to, by the way, historically as of right now, but that they will prepare to go even to the CCJ. Well, then until the CCJ rules, he should not be putting any damn SOE in place anymore, because then he's constantly repeating the same cycle that for which the judge have already told them, and the Constitution tells them and spells out in black and white how they could get a legal SOE, when and for what purpose, rather than bamboozling the process and just how and pull the system and power play because he is the Prime Minister. He needs to go to jail because those people that they're sending to jail are suffering jail time and are losing their jobs and they can't show up to work and suffer all kind of other inconveniences in their life while he's grandstanding there talking crap. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. I want to add to what you said, sir.
So one thing I want to add is about the last tape that you played. Prime Minister of Belize does not consider our laws and our Constitution as being equitable enough to be followed, even though he swore allegiance to it and he's supposed to have some fidelity to it. Much less, how would you then believe that he'll have any more allegiance to any of the court rulings from Jamaica or any of the other Caribbean countries? He does not subscribe to our laws, much less any other laws. The man is a scoundrel and a scaffold.
Mr. Brackett, well said, but I want to say this to you and to the people at home and abroad. They know it's unconstitutional. The mere fact they wanted to come with this Amendment 13 and make it retroactive so they cannot sue them from 2018. Mr. Morrison, I go to you for 2 minutes, sir, 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, we keep wondering what is the legal grounds and trying to identify for a state of emergency or an SOE. And we have some fixed guidelines as to what provokes one, what causes it, you know, and then we have the reference that the governor general can then, based on some information, declares one, right? And in these instances, we're having the prime minister and parliament come up with these wording of why we are putting one based on the um, SI that they developed, and then we have the governor general signing in a state of emergency, and we are pressed and troubled because the issue is that we're constantly seeing that they do not yield the type of benefit that anyone is looking for. It doesn't quiet down in meaningful way the murder and stuff that happens there. Even during this process, there's still things going on. And I don't know if it would be more or less if we had the SOE in place or not, because what's happening is still seems to be going on. What we do know is that we need to make sure that we address the underlying causes of the criminal activities. And when we know who these individuals are, we use the regular and normal procedure of laws and enforcement to engage these individuals and to remove them from the society. I know the former commissioner of police spoke about some of the problems they've been having in terms of getting witnesses to respond and to provide testimony. You know, in Belize we have a lot of cameras and we have a lot of these type of observation tools. We don't use them. In fact, we don't use it activity going on. We're afraid to bring out the camera and say, this is what we could see. You don't have to have much witness in those instances. The cameras, as long as they're not being altered, is sufficient evidence of the crime that's taking place and took place. Similarly, I understand they have over 1,000 cameras or so throughout the country, I believe. So we're picking up on a good many of the activities that's going on and know what's going on, but for whatever reason, we're relying on the least factor when we could be relying on true and hard evidence to make a case and to bring about the convictions. And if we need more of this, then put more cameras because we already given up so much of our freedom by being captured when we're in the public space with these cameras. Put them and then use those if you can't get the individuals. But one of the things we need to also do is to make sure that people are not sitting on top of other people within the city that is so congested and so locked in that you turn and you're running into people that you want to shoot and so forth. We have enough land in this country that we could start building out spaces so that people can move out of the city and have opportunities to develop themselves and to grow and to do whatever they want and not be congested and just breeding this terrible situation of criminality and hatred that's going on. So with that, I say thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. I want to say this, right? I I want to say this. The government could have done a constitutional state of emergency. All they had to do was declare it in those areas and then put conditions as gangbangers would be arrested. Mr. Wade, I go to you for closing, sir, and your comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well said there, Mr. Morrison. You know, um, I go a little further and say that, as for me, none of the SOEs that was implemented had produced any positive, deterrence or anything positive for the nation. Nothing but chaos. And the ones that are seeking redress, these little black kids that feel like their rights have been violated, and you know the court has awarded, and the government, as I speak right now, refuse to pay them. So there will be more. There will be more cases against the charges brought against the state, like those two. And I would hope and pray that the court system in Belize do the right thing and address the issues as it is, and honor the Constitution, and have the government uphold the Constitution, and have these young men awarded whatever wrong that was done to them. Pay them for the wrongs that you have done to them. But what you guys are doing, you want to kick it down the road and fight these very same people that was awarded by the court, want to fight them again, right? So it seems to be that you have no intention, Mr. Brisseni and your administration, of paying for your crimes that you have committed against these young people, right? And I applaud the court in the Caribbean, and like I say, I just hope that and pray that one day the courts in Belize would do same. And as for the mayhem, you heard from, I've said before, you heard from that outgoing commissioner, a friend of mine, that they know these people, right? And a handful of these people. So you're gonna have these people going for many, many years terrorizing these people, the nation, and you know them. What you guys go and do? You go and you subject the entire public, right, to something that they shouldn't be subject to, right? And refusing to do your job as to protect the citizen, right? So it's a sad situation to see how they try to justify their illegal actions, and
Mr. Wade, if I may, they also lose the case with the young boy they had held.
Yes.
I just want you to
yes
be aware of that. People at
yes
home
the
and
juvenile
abroad.
the
They
juvenile was
lost
a
that
14-year-old, 15-year-old that they
violating
they,
his constitutional right also.
you shouldn't even question a juvenile under the age without the parents, without proper consent from the parents, or in the company of a parent. You shouldn't. The state shouldn't do that. The police is wrong doing that. That's number one, right? More or less jail him, right? Put him to, subject him to violate his constitutional right. But what I'm saying is that I don't know if these guys know what they're doing. Seems, that they I don't know what they're trying to prove, but I hope that they realize that the world is watching, other people are watching the illegal things they do, and they go publicly and try to justify their illegal actions. It's a sad situation, and like you rightfully said, Leonard, if they cannot do their job, find somebody and put them in place so that somebody that can do the job, right? Holding a country, a nation, hostage like that, in behalf of a few, like I say, it's wrong, because they say publicly from their own mouth they know who these people are, and the state have a responsibility to the citizen. The state has a responsibility. So, my buddy, Mr. Williams, it's so sad, If these people didn't want to go and give a statement, the state has a responsibility. You says you know them. But anyway, and not only you say that, your minister said that at the time. Publicly he said that. You know, how do you think the world look at you when you say something like that? A very smart guy. Very smart guy. You know, doing the right thing by your people and nation. I think they will say that. But anyway, so sad to see what's going on in our country, man, and the portion of society that's been marginalized repetitiously on these bogus state of emergencies, right? And for viewers and listeners, both at home and abroad, you know, want to thank you for, viewing our program and, understanding and hearing from each other perspective, because all four of us here see life not in the same through the same lens, and we respect each other, right? Views, and and it's good. It's a healthy way to go about doing it, in terms of the discussion, and hope that you learn something, and see these people for who they are and what they are doing to a certain portion of society, and you come to your own conclusion. Are they doing right by you? Is it right what they're doing? But I think they're just doing it because no one yet has been held accountable for the illegal things that they do to you. Mr. Chairman, I want to say good night. And Mr. Morrison, again, thanks for bracing us. Leonard, it's always a pleasure. Mr. Chairman, thank you for my program.
I just wanted to add there that someone mentioned that it's just either these people don't know their job, or it's laziness, or they're just scapegoating instead of dealing with the real issues of trying to address the crime situation when they just keep popping up these SOEs, because it has not worked, like you said, Mr. Wade. It has not worked. There's no evidence of it ever working. It doesn't bring about any resolution. It doesn't create a bit of period where they start discussing meaningfully, so that the things don't get back to the same after just a very short period of time, if it ever quiets down. So we just hope they start getting serious and stop just putting a band-aid on this big old sore of violence and murder that's going on.
So sad.
Thank you, gentlemen, for a wonderful program tonight. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. With that said, I want to say good night to you, the people at home and abroad.